investigate. So we have a failure to prosecute child molesters and let the priests go free because you don't want to take on the church. You have the failure to investigate environmental crimes because you don't want to anger or you want to befriend criminal defense lawyers and get their money.
Deputy District Attorney Steve Ipsen has a list of grievances about his boss, the current DA Steve Cooley, and is running to replace him. And he's not the only one running for DA. Find out what the mainstream media won't tell you about Cooley and his challengers next on Full Disclosure. Hello, I'm Leslie Dutton. Today on Full Disclosure, we're bringing you the news behind the news in this part 2 of our interviews with the candidates running against incumbent District Attorney Steve Cooley. Mr. Cooley had based his original campaign on stopping public corruption, and according to both challengers, Steve Ipsen and Albert Robles, Mr. Cooley has failed LA citizens big time by refusing to prosecute pedophile priests in the Catholic Church.
This district attorney is corrupt when we have $500 million paid to children who are molested by priests. Why aren't there more priests being prosecuted for these molestations? And I know for a fact, because I've spoken with the DAs in my office, the DAs are encouraging the DA, saying, we have more priests, we should prosecute. We have the evidence, we should prosecute. And this district attorney is saying no. Why? Because he doesn't want to take on powerful people that may hurt his career. And my message to Mr. Cooley is it's not about your career, it's about what's doing right. Sometimes when you do what's right, you pay a price. Just like our boys in Iraq, they're doing what they believe is right and they can lose their lives. Mr. Cooley is be willing to lose some campaign contributions by prosecuting crime the way a tough prosecutor needs to.
Albert Robles is shocked by Cooley's failure to stop the flagrant child abuse within the Catholic Church.
He has refused to prosecute the child abusers and pedophiles that work and still work within the Catholic Church. And that should shock the conscience of all individuals here in LA County, to the extent that these individuals have harmed emotionally, physically, and spiritually young boys and girls, and have gotten away with it and not been prosecuted to the full extent of the law, and are still within this institution, the Catholic Church, and administering to other individuals is offensive. And why Steve Cooley has refused to do that and let them get away with it should offend everybody. And that's just another example of why we need change. And to the extent that I'm the only candidate that has both public and private sector experience, I'm the only candidate with a master's degree in public administration from USC, and I'm the only candidate with the courage to prosecute all public corruption and have a 16-year track record, proven track record. I think I'm the best candidate suited to serve Los Angeles County.
The Los Angeles Board of Supervisors recently gave District Attorney Cooley a substantial salary increase. We asked both the challengers what they thought about the pay raise. How is this rationalized that Steve Cooley would get such a huge raise?
It's embarrassing as a prosecutor in my office to see that the DA, with everything we're facing now, with the crime rate, with the gang problem, he wasn't given a raise. He went and asked for a raise because he wasn't the highest paid prosecutor in the state. And for him to have that on his radar, he was already making over $200,000 a year. And he wanted to be making closer to $300,000 a year. He wanted to make more than U.S. Supreme Court justices. And because he wasn't the best paid, he spent money in a salary survey, not to pay his prosecutors more, because his first-year prosecutors are making about 1/3 of what private lawyers make. They're making substantially less than DAs in San Francisco, Santa Clara. They're making less than city attorneys that prosecute misdemeanors. So a murder prosecutor makes substantially less in LA County than someone prosecuting traffic misdemeanors. Steve Cooley didn't go to ask for raises for his people. He went because he wanted a personal raise, so he was the best paid. It's that type of elitism and that kind of entitlement that doesn't belong in a prosecutor. The first thing I'll do when I'm elected is that raise is gone, and if the county board of supervisors won't reduce my raise, I'll give all that money to victims' rights groups. You don't need to make $300,000 a year if you're a public servant. It's just too much.
Mr. Robles thinks the board gave Cooley the raise as a payback for looking the other way.
And it is offensive that happened, especially at this time. And again, this raise did not happen 3 or 4 years ago when Los Angeles County was just overflowing with resources and money. This raise was awarded earlier this year when we knew the fiscal crisis that the county was facing. And as there was 2 people that spoke up in opposition to that vote. And one of the individuals who spoke up to it speculated that the reason that this raise was given without any public debate was because Steve Cooley refuses to prosecute alleged improprieties entered into by the Board of Supervisors. And it was also speculated that the shenanigans that the Board of Supervisors engaged in, whether it was violation of the Brown Act or open meeting laws or other problems, that his refusal to investigate those was rewarded with this $100,000 raise.
Is it because D.A. Cooley can't win cases against the power brokers in Los Angeles? Should DAs be judged by the public on whether or not they win or lose cases?
It shouldn't just be about winning. There will be times where in the course of the trial, despite your belief that this person is guilty beyond a reasonable doubt, a jury will disagree, or one juror. And they may say, we have a reasonable doubt. Doesn't mean that the man is innocent. It means that we have a doubt as a jury. And the DA has to respect that. The prosecutor has to respect that jury and not take it personally, because it isn't personal. And that's one of the great reasons I'm running against District Attorney Steve Cooley, who's been there for 8 years. And I say too long he's been there because he takes it personally. And when he prosecuted and lost the Robert Blake murder case, rather than just recognizing that this was the jury verdict and saying I respect the verdict but I disagreed with it, he insulted the jury. And he went on TV and called the jury incredibly stupid, which is a violation of our ethics rules. No prosecutor in his office. There are 1,000 DAs that are members of the DA Association. I've never heard of a prosecutor after a trial insulting a jury. So it's bad for Los Angeles that we have a district attorney that's a bad loser. It's not about winning and losing. It's about doing justice. And when a jury verdict doesn't go your way, you have to see that's part of our justice system. It's not a loss. It's how our system is supposed to work. You know, there is no justification to compromise public safety. So I don't know what his rationale is. I cannot believe he's been in the DA's office for I think probably 30-some years. I cannot believe that he's unaware of the damage he's doing.